Okay. Everything's recording, so sweet. Just clap.
Solid clap.
Solid clap. So hello.
Hello.
This is your first ever artist interview.
Oh, this is very exciting.
Which is sweet. So last night, as we record this, was your launch of Still Volume 1,
yes.
Which is like an instrumental album. Tell us a bit about it and how it all came together.
Yep. So about early last year, probably, Integrity Music came to us and had this concept for a series of albums they want to do, taking well-known worship songs and reinterpreting them as instrumentals. And they're doing a series of volumes with different artists doing each one. And they asked us to do the first one, which is a nice privilege, just as we're doing the first Mountaintop interview.
It's like it was meant to be.
Yeah. So they sent us a whole batch of songs, and we kind of brought some of our ideas as well, and we basically reinterpreted some songs that we like in Rivers and Robots style, but we kind of like listening to instrumental music for prayer time and reading the Bible and that kind of stuff, so we wanted to make the kind of album that people could put on in those kind of times and help them focus. So this
is your 5th album now?
Yeah.
So did you have to like change how you approach writing this album compared to your other ones being all instrumental stuff?
This was a slightly different approach, really. Like we had like 3 days to get demos down, which was pretty mental because we'd just finished the 4th studio album and then went on a UK tour, and then literally got back off that and just started writing like crazy for this one. And then most of it was done in the studio, wasn't it? Like just what sounded good, what sounded right, that kind of thing. So it was a different approach for us.
Yeah, a lot of experimenting as we went along. Yeah, and also it was different in the fact that we're taking other people's songs and redoing them as instrumentals, so we didn't have to write the original.
Yeah. So did you find it easier to like remake your own songs or like other people's?
Ooh. I think probably other people's. Although I suppose I felt I had more permission to mess up our own songs. We could like do whatever we wanted with them. It was like with other people's songs, I did have that thing of like, there is going to be the person that wrote this that might hear it and think, what have they done to my song? But I had a lot of fun with it, and it's quite a different, like I think well-known worship songs are they often work really well because of how simple they are and like really simple chord progressions and structures. It gives you a lot of room to do creative stuff with it. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing it.
Cool. So which track took you the longest to get right?
That's a good question.
Well, we actually recorded about 20 something tracks. We had like a month to do it, so I don't know. I guess we just recorded as much as we could do and then just picked the best. I don't know if one took longer than the others. Or
yeah, they're all pretty quick. I think Revelation song went through probably a long process just because it's quite a long song anyway. When we were doing strings and brass and recording with Epiphany, we layered a lot of stuff up with that one, and kind of just a lot of it was you and like Dan just throwing in ideas of like, what if we did this bit and this bit, and we just kept layering in loads of other stuff and grew it into this massive
really
thing.
I was working with Epiphany. They're awesome. Like, what are they? They're a string?
Yeah, so they're a string. Well, not just strings. The classical ensemble, I think is what you call them.
Okay.
So yeah, they're a collective of different musicians. Some of them are involved in like orchestras and all sorts of stuff, and they're all Christians. And so we worked with like 2 violins, viola, cello, French horn, and trumpet. And then basically the reason we really liked working with them is they do spontaneous kind of arrangements on the spot. So they do these things in art galleries called musical portraits, where they sit someone on a chair in a museum or art gallery, stand around them and basically just play a spontaneous song with classical instruments, which just sounds insane. But which is really helpful for us because we really like the prophetic edge that they've got, but also as someone that doesn't really know how to arrange strings, it's nice to just like play a song to them and then they just play stuff over the top. So a lot of it was their own ideas, not like it wasn't just here's some stuff we've written, go and play that. Like they're very creative in the process as well.
So like you mentioned about them doing like art gallery stuff. So like you guys run a thing called Set Sail, which is all like creative worship sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And at the launch, we all got these like books, which
Yeah.
is Simon Bray,
Yeah.
like all of this art, which it's my first art book I've ever owned, so I feel really adult now and like cultured. So
You're grown up. It's happened.
Yeah. How did Simon Bray come in with all of the visuals, and how did you find him?
So Simon Bray actually did our first ever band photos when we knew each other for like 3 weeks, and it was really awkward.
The most awkward picture. If you go on Facebook and find the earliest pictures, we look really awkward.
Yeah.
We have funny haircuts and things.
We all went and stood in a field and didn't really know each other, and I didn't really know Simon. So, but he's a great photographer, and he does a lot of landscape work as well. So we kind of kept in touch with him from then, and then a couple of years ago, or maybe it was just a year ago, he started this project called The Edges of These Isles, where which is what the book is. So it's him and an artist called Tom Musgrove, and they travel around, capture landscapes in photography and fine art, kind of collage painting stuff. So yeah, when we were coming up with ideas for the album art, we wanted to do something that was really photography based, and I just really like Simon's work, so it was the first person that came to mind. We were just like, we need to ask Simon. But yeah, he's totally on board with it. So
because he did this devotion, like got given these like devotional packs, which have all got his artwork on it. So is that like, is it, because it's not just the album, it's like a devotional pack? And
yeah, so there's a guy called Glenn Packiam who's written these devotional things. So they're going out from like Sunday to Thursday leading up to the release of the album. It's like a 5-day devotional series that goes with the theme of just being still and that kind of thing. So,
and is there like videos? There's like a video thing?
Yes, so there's video. There's a lot of different videos. There's like a full album version, and then there's one that's not got the devotional, and then there's like 5 devotional videos to split up the days. So, but a lot of that footage is taken from the Edges of the Isles documentary, which is a film of the art project. So it all ties together.
Okay. So 2016 was a busy year for you guys. You went on tour, you travelled around like a lot of Europe and stuff. So how was all of that for you guys?
Yeah, we actually did a UK tour around club venues around the UK. So that was really cool, just taking worship into places where it doesn't usually get to. Travelled over to Slovakia to lead worship at a big youth event out there, which was incredible. Went to Amsterdam again, just going into non-Christian places, leading worship. Just kind of big part of our heart is just taking worship music to where it doesn't usually get to.
That's true.
Yeah. So what was the highlight out of all of your travelling? What was like a standout moment for it?
I think Slovakia was definitely one for me.
Yeah.
That was good fun. Just 'cause it's a new country and like massive festival. And I sometimes find the really big ones quite intimidating, but I think they just made it really easy, and we just really enjoyed it.
Was that always like the dream of the band to be able to go out and do all this sort of stuff?
Not really. To be honest, I'm more of like a producer, behind the scenes person, so I had to kind of figure out live stuff as we went along. And I was much more excited about just making an album, putting it out, and people might hear it somewhere. But I guess as it grew, I sort of realised we're going to have to do this live and take it places. So I've been sort of figuring that out as we go. But I do enjoy it. I've grown to love it more as we do it more. So,
yeah. Do you have any tips for tour life?
Tour life?
What would be your top tip?
Yeah, I'd say eat regularly. Make sure you get food at some stage. It's probably my big tip.
Yeah.
You get angry if you don't get food.
Yeah, I think making sure it's not too intense as well, because it can be very like next place, blah blah blah, and just trying to make sure there's time of having a bit of downtime and some bit of space and quiet is difficult to get sometimes on tour, but is useful.
I just think always look after yourself. Like, for me that's drink coffee and eat food. And then you feel a bit more normal. And
extra like measures of grace for everybody. Because any time spent with the same people in a van, someone's going to get annoyed with someone. It's just part of the
The other thing, Starbucks is a. I'm not a Starbucks fan, but like when you're in another country, you know you're going to get a cup of tea.
It's a safe bet.
Yeah, you're going to get a normal cup of tea in Starbucks. So you mentioned your van.
which
Yes.
has a name
It does have a name.
called the Glory Bus.
The Glory Bus.
What's that?
So the Glory Bus came into my life in 2007. I think, I don't know when it was. So it was my parents' old like people carrier.
Yeah.
I used to get dropped off to high school in that, so it's been around a while, and it's transitioned into being a sort of tour vehicle. It's an old Japanese import. It's got a lot of character. The sunroof doesn't open anymore.
Yeah.
The aircon is either very hot or very cold. It's got a lot of character.
So, you guys are called Rivers and Robots.
Yes.
So I thought I'd ask you, what's your favourite river?
Favourite river?
The Amazon River's quite cool,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, because
I've never seen
that's
it,
kind of like, I've never seen it, but like I've seen it on TV, and like it does cool things, doesn't it? It like goes really wide at some points, and then I'm pretty sure it does. Anyway, that's quite a good river.
I like I think it's the Danube. I'm not sure.
Where's
It's
that?
a good name.
I think it's the one that goes through Prague, but I might be completely wrong. There's one that goes through like quite a few big European cities, and it's like massive, but it's very beautiful at several locations.
Wow. And on the back of that, what's your favourite robot? Have you got
Favourite
Oh
robot?
man,
Uh,
I quite like the Nissan robot.
Okay.
Is it Nissan Honda?
Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that can't get upstairs.
Walks upstairs.
Falls
Yeah.
over.
I like
Yeah.
it because it looks like a person.
Yeah.
That's like what I think a robot should be.
I like the Boston Dynamics one. If anyone has not seen that, people go on YouTube and type in Boston Dynamics robot, and they've got this little dog one that's like become its own meme because it just walks amazingly. And there's the one that this guy's like really mean to and keeps pushing it over, and it can get itself up, and then it like walks out the door with purpose. And you're like, that robot's going to achieve things in life.
So, as we mentioned before, you've got like another project that's called Set Sail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you just give us like a brief overview of what that is and what the other parts of that involves?
Yeah, so Set Sail is like it's like a side project of Rivers and Robots. So we got approached by record labels a couple of years ago and just felt led by God really to just not take that route, but instead be more ministry focused. So we set up our own ministry. We basically take all the money we've made from Rivers and Robots and put it into trying to share Jesus through creativity. So we do like worship nights in the city centre, in club venues and pubs and bars and things where we just lead worship and bring bands over. We have like art projects that we're trying to get off the ground at the moment and things. So like art prints and t-shirts and that kind of stuff. And we take some of the money that we use as well to go into missions. So we do like missions in countries. We've been to the Philippines and trying to sort out some other things, and try and like invest in. We've done things with homeless charities and stuff like that. So just things like that. So we use all the Rivers and Robots money to do that, and then we live like missionaries, raising personal support to live. So that's Set Sail really. Like it's going to grow a bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So you run is it monthly worship nights called Gather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, tell us a brief overview of what all of that entails.
Yeah. So Gather started as we used to do worship nights in people's living rooms, which were just really like small, cozy times of just we go for like an hour and a half or 2 hours and just play worship songs. And our idea was to try and do creative worship in creative places. That was like a catchy tagline. And we were going to take it around like different venues in the city, and just do worship nights in like places where worship doesn't normally happen. And we're just excited by the idea of like what would it look like to do worship evenings outside of just normal church services. So we did that we probably started about 2 years ago now. And then last year we did a lot of different venues around the city. Had different artists from the UK as well as a way of introducing people to artists they might not know and give them a platform. And then we've done 2 big events with United Pursuit and King's Kaleidoscope, which were like our bigger booked out a gig venue and just had a good time. And then this year we've got a new venue, which is Nexus Art Cafe, and we're going to try and build more of a consistent thing by having it in the same place every month, but it's still being in the city centre and outside of church, but hopefully we'll make it a bit simpler for people to find it and come to. So.
A big kind of new direction we want to try and take it in as well as like just trying to build a bit more community around it as well, like just be an event that people could just hang out together and meet new people. I think that's going to be a big new thing of what we're trying to put across this year as well. So.
Yeah.
So in your latest vlog,
Yes.
you kind of broke the internet with a pot plant that you've named Pamela.
Pamela. Yeah. She's can I get Pamela?
Yeah, you can get Pamela. Wow. That is a
Pamela.
finish.
This is Pam.
Yeah.
We decided. Well, Nathan kind of came up with this plan that we needed an office plant to improve the environment, bring a bit of oxygen. And
it wasn't to bring oxygen. You talk about this, but I'm not convinced that Pamela's going to like produce enough oxygen for us to live.
You never know.
You never know.
Wow.
But yeah, she's caused quite a stir online.
Yeah.
She has her own fan club.
So after the busy year last year,
Yes.
What's like next? What's your plans?
So we've got another UK tour in March. Instrumental album obviously coming out Friday. And then planning future tours. Stuff we've got coming up.
Trying to get over to the US.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So like we're trying to hit like Pennsylvania and New York this year, and then potentially other ones if people get in touch.
Yeah. We've been trying to do the US for like 4 years because it's been our biggest like area of fans that listen to us. Like it's mostly US people at the moment. So it's been on the list for ages, but hopefully we actually do it this year, and that would be a big achievement.
It's a bit tricky.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's everything. Thank you so much for joining us here. And